think the key thing we try to focus on is creating an experience. So if you were to use, for example, Cycle Singapore, OCBC Cycle Singapore, we're very much, the core of that is cycling, but we've looked at creating an experience for the participants around it, so broadening the reach, a real lifestyle experience, so to speak. So obviously attracting the participants to enjoy the experience then gives the reward and the return to your sponsors at the same time. So as an example there, using OCBC Cycle Singapore, we've had massive turn up for the first year, 5,500 participants. Any sponsor in a first year event like that is going to be happy, and OCBC is delighted not only with the exposure to the participants, but then all the other exposure they got as a result of the PR that it generated, obviously the on-ground opportunity in terms of their branding, all the lead-up events that we created around it. So I think really trying to extend the life of the event as well. Often you see events that are particularly in the space that we're strong in, which is the community style of events. You see events that really are a one-day event, and you see a little bit of the lead up to them. What we try and do is create much more longevity into the event, and that obviously benefits the sponsors. It benefits the event in terms of growing it into a long-term successful property, whereby you create a number of different touch points along the way. That helps to market it to attract the participants, but it also attracts, it also presents the opportunity for your sponsors to be able to interact with their existing customers and potential customers on a number of occasions in the lead up to the event. I think it is, and that's why we're looking to try and differentiate a little bit. I mean, our core has really been, for many years, has been running, and obviously we're strong in that, having just recently delivered the successful Standard Chartered Singapore Marathon on behalf of the Sports Council with 50,000 runners. That was much more of an operational role because we're employed by them to do the operational side of it, and then the Sports Council does all the commercial side and the marketing and so on. But we're looking to try and differentiate, and we recognised, again using OCBC Cycle Singapore as an example, that there was a real gap in the market. Cycling is a growing sport globally, there's no question about it, and also showing massive growth here in Singapore. So to be first mover, so to speak, in that space and create the first major cycling event in Singapore for many years, I think has put us in a really good position. And then obviously the success of that and the partners that we brought to the table, OCBC as a great partner, and our marketing agency Upper Story and our various other partners, the Sports Council and the like, have made a big difference to that. So I think, again, yeah, really important to be able to differentiate, to look at 8 different sports and B, different style of events, so giving participants something that they're going to enjoy and experience, I think is really key to differentiate yourself in the market. Well, we've been absolutely delighted. We're already, after just 2 months, we're already at 6,500 participants, which is over 1,000 more than we had last year. We've got a great stable of new partners, so some really good international brands that have come to the event. So you've got the likes of Canon and Sunto and Bloomberg, the Conrad, and the like. So some really good quality global brands, which I think show the interest in the event and the interest in cycling. We're getting some really good riders, and we'll be making some announcements early in the new year in terms of the field we've got. But we've got some really great riders that are coming to Singapore, and the word's out there really in the marketplace globally, in terms of riders that are showing a strong interest in coming down. So as an example, we've got a multiple Tour de France stage winner and the holder of the yellow jersey a couple of years ago that will be coming out. We've got a lot of national and Olympic medalists that will be coming out, national champions, Olympic medalists, and we've got some of the best teams in the world, and I think that's a really good testament to the success of the first year from a pro perspective. So for example, Colombia is sending out a number of riders. We've got Lampre that's sending out riders. We've got Garmin that's sending out riders. So 3 of the top pro tour teams sending riders to the event, I think is testament to how it's viewed in the pure cycling community, to say nothing of obviously the massive numbers from the community riders. Yeah, we would love to bring Lance Armstrong out, and I think it's fairly common knowledge that I met with his management over at Tour of Ireland earlier in the year. The presentation that we gave to them was very favourably received, and obviously what Lance is all about now, apart from obviously trying to win the Tour de France again, it's all about cancer awareness for him, and as part of that initiative, we're working very closely with the National Cancer Centre Fund and a great group of people that do fantastic work here in Singapore. And we've just added, was actually announced at the weekend, an event called a Cycle of Hope, which is a cancer survivors ride, which we're doing on the Saturday evening. So you're probably aware that the event now already has taken that first step of the growth towards a week-long lifestyle festival that we're planning ultimately, and it's now spread over 2 days next year, 6th and 7th of March. We're doing all the kids activities on the Saturday evening, and we now have added this activity, which is the cancer survivors Cycle of Hope, which we're hoping to get about 500 cancer survivors, people that are undergoing cancer treatment, and their family and friends and supporters riding it, raising extra funds and awareness. And a lot of this is about awareness. So, what Armstrong's message is, yes, it's raising funds, but it's raising awareness, it's giving hope to sufferers, and NCCF is very excited about the opportunity that it gives to raise awareness for cancer. I don't really. I think people are generally accepting that the economy's been tough in many areas, not just sport, and on a global basis. And I think what the government is doing in terms of let's do this well and let's do it right. They could have easily listened to the pressure of what's been played up in the media and what people have been talking about and said, well, let's save face and just launch it, and then end up with a project that goes awry, that maybe has to be cut back because they don't have sufficient funding. So I think it's great, and I think when it eventually comes online, it's going to be incredible for Singapore. That whole precinct, what it brings, not only in terms of the sports facilities, but everything else that's going with it. The office space that's in the area, the sports science facilities that are here for high performance. I think it will be worth the wait, and certainly I think Singaporeans will forget very quickly once they have this great facility that it was a few years late.